Hi, I'm Vince LaSalle. I'm terribly frustrated. For 2 years, I've been fighting the town board to get the money back. And I've gone to
We
3 meetings,
appreciate
I missed work, stayed till midnight, and they keep yesing me. I've spoken to every board member to bring it up. The issue is, Marilyn can explain better, that they have no mechanism to give back the money that's owed. And I think that's a crop of, but I suggested a scholarship for a learning student. And they said, sounds good, but nobody's brought it up. I've spoken to Mr. Doles in ShopRite, I've spoken to Harley in ShopRite, I've spoken to the guy at the card place.
Yeah,
Who's
Tony.
running for board. I need the board to, and the lawyer to do something, as a group. As an individual, I'm frustrated.
Okay.
They're yesing
What are you
me.
talking about? Explain.
Yeah,
Give us a little background.
Marilyn, you explain
Well,
very well.
Not this year, but the year before, in 2015, the town board was late in submitting our petitions to the Board of Elections by a day or by hours. And so in order for us to get on the ballot, we had to do an Article 78, which ran us close to $10,000. So Vince, hearing this, was pretty upset about it and has gone and tried to hit that ball out of the park for us to get that money back. I even went one night with him and
Yes, you were
spoke
great.
to, yes. And they made it clear that they do recognize their mistake and that they are responsible for this, but that there was no mechanism, like he said, for giving it back to us. So they would do something in kind. And people have come up with various
Yeah,
ideas. but-
computers, something for the library. It's my tax dollars.
I had written a letter, Vince, previously when I was on the board, asking that, in lieu of the, offer to do something in kind, that they contribute, for the cost of the 2016 audit of the library, since it's the taxpayers' money that needs to be accounted for by the library with the help of the auditors. And if the supervisor ever sent a response, I am
He never
unaware
did.
of.
Okay, that's why I feel slighted. That's why I thought as a new board and board members that as a group, I mean, I don't want you to sue them, but it's getting ridiculous now, 2 years, and as a library patron, the library could use a lot, salaries, books, computers, whatever, that you guys need,
Well-
but give it back, and I'm frustrated, that's what I'm
Yeah, well,
tonight,
we
please.
appreciate everything you've done
Yeah, but
to
it's
support the
not
library.
a loss unless you guys as a group maybe demand it back. I know what else I could do.
I don't know what else you can do either, but.
Yeah, I don't know if your lawyer could jump in, and, I mean, we went at it, me and the lawyer went at it. I'm not a lawyer, but it's just frustrating, and
The thing is, to hire a lawyer to get it is just throwing
then we're
money
back
after
money,
bad.
yeah, that's the whole,
Right.
or maybe
we're
a
not gonna
letter
do
of
anywhere.
intent, or a threat.
Or if the board
It's-
could come up with something they felt was of equal worth, Kathy had suggested
Yeah,
an
that's
audit.
fine, as long as
Then
you
she
guys
didn't
get it back.
hear anything about
No,
it.
Kathy, I mean, I'm not issuing what Kathy says sounds good, but give it back to us
Can
taxpayers in the
we,
library.
as an organization, send them the bill that they would then have, just like any kind of business, you send them a bill, you've got, net 90 days to pay it,
No,
or,
because it's decided in court. This is what the lawyer said the night I was there. It was decided in court and that's the end of it. They don't owe it to us. It was a court matter, and that's the end of it. However, Harley Doles made it a point of saying that they recognized that that was their error and that they would do something in kind. If you want to try again and write a letter and send it to try and maybe go against the cost of the audit, provide the audit for us, that was a good suggestion. If you sent that letter, again, I mean, I'd be willing to go to the town board
Well,
meeting.
that's what I
and-
was thinking, I'd go to the meeting.
Yeah, I'd go to the
I'd be
meeting
willing
and
to go to
then,
town
and then
board
say,
meeting.
we sent you this letter, I have it in hand.
Yeah,
What would
yeah.
you say about it? You said you wanted to do something in kind. You expressed
That's all I'm
that to
asking for
the
the new
public.
board to
I'd
push it
make
before
sure
it
you
gets
were there.
lost. I'll be there.
Yeah. So
But-
the- yeah.
Please, do something, that's all I'm gonna ask.
Okay, we could either refer that to library operating, which is where I think it
that's where we're laying, yeah.
would be, and
It's operations.
you're having a meeting, so
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
can discuss it, and people, if anybody who has ideas other than what we've already discussed, can direct them to Anne Marie so she can bring them to her committee meeting.
Thank you.
Obviously, it's not something that's gonna be resolved right here and now.
Right, I didn't expect it.
but I just wanna say
Right,
again, how
that's
much
what I was
we
thinking.
appreciate you being on top of it and the
Yeah,
effort
but-
that you've
Well,
made.
thanks.
Great
It's the
mindset.
effort,
Right?
I feel I've been made a fool of by the board to
No,
yes
you
me.
haven't been made a fool of.
Well,
us.
they've yesed me, Marilyn, thank you, but they've yesed me and I see them in the, I've lobbied them and they want more.
I'll tell you this, if you want anything in this world, you have to be tenacious.
That's what I've
And you've
been.
been tenacious, so I'm behind you.
Yeah, I hope the board could do something
I'm
on the
sure,
group.
I'm
That's
We are
all.
sure.
well, and
Absolutely.
we're already thinking of an idea that
Great.
if we can get them to do the audit, that
The back.
what we talked about.
Yeah, yeah,
Have them
Thank
fund
you.
that,
Well,
and they
you
could
know-
they could even have their guys come out and do all the work.
yeah.
Well, you could do that.
Have some other taxpayers, just to end, we all feel other
Yeah.
taxpayers, it's
Yeah.
it's not their money, they
That's
can't
right.
hold on to it. Give it back in
Well,
some
especially
form.
since they said that they've committed verbally, they've made, I don't know if that's a
On
verbal
tape.
contract or not, but
Yeah,
it sounds to me like it is.
Well,
That we could
they'd
get
be
them.
shamed if they didn't.
Oh, indeed,
okay.
indeed.
Thank you.
Do
No,
they
thank
do
you for
All right,
bringing
that
that
to
to
us.
us. Yeah.
Yes, Kat.
Is this the appropriate section where I, as a member of the public, could make a comment about the draft minutes on the website? So I printed out the draft April and May minutes from the website, and I didn't see in the May 8th draft minutes any mention of the tabling of the discussion of all of the historical financial reports from last year and this year.
We've already dealt with that. Casey's gone through all of them and has sent a report.
But it was supposed to have been in the minutes that that was tabled because it was referenced in the April meeting, and then in May, it was further tabled, but there's no notation in the
Okay,
draft minutes.
thank you for that. We could
Say it again.
rectify that,
Table
right?
the historic what? Say it, tell me
Um,
again.
In April,
Uh-huh.
the board voted to table approval of the historical financial reports until the May meeting, and then at the May meeting, it was further tabled, but that fact isn't notated in the draft minutes.
Okay, that can be,
That's
Change,
easy to
thank
fix.
you.
Can amend that.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'll get to work, thank you very much.
Bye.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank
We'll
you
be
so
in
much.
touch. When
Yes.
we get-
Yeah,
when I
thank
get-
We
you.
will.
Make it a comment.
We're on it.
Absolutely.
What's his name
Okay,
again? Vince LaSalle. Vincent LaSalle.
okay. Did you get that, Anne Marie? Vincent?
Yeah. Oh, did you want his name?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
why
it
not?
should be in there because he's been on this and,
Law, Sal?
Yeah, LaSalle.
Oh, I got it right.
You know, I spoke with
Okay.
Casey today, and we talked about this issue, and he felt that the only financial reports that had to be dealt with were the March and April ones, and if you noticed, he sent an email out, and then the May ones.
Okay.
He felt that we had efficiently dealt with November, January, February, and February.
okay. We'll take
This
you
is
to CTA.
understanding. Right, right, maybe that's, I don't think
Okay, so, excuse me. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's quite all right.
Okay, attendance, so we still, Barbara is in here, and Denise, and Casey, so everybody else is here, right?
Liz
Liz.
is not, and Homos is not.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
Barbara.
4, 5, 6,
And Barbara.
7.
Yeah, I have Barbara down. I didn't hear anything from Harmos one way or the other, so we'll have to see. The disposition of the minutes. We have the minutes. Anne Marie, have you got the minutes?
I have the minutes. I emailed them to everybody. There was couple things on the minutes that I had sent out a request, because I didn't realize that when you abstain, I need your name. I just was writing down 2 abstain, 10 approved. So the abstentions and the opposed, I needed to know 2 names on there. So on the committee's reports, it was my item 7C. There was a motion to approve the disaster plan, 9 people approved and 2 abstained. And I sent out a request to everybody asking who abstained.
I know I was abstained from a lot of things.
I think that was one of
But there were 2 people. I mean, I hate to go to the videotape, but I will.
Charlie, wasn't there something you abstained from? Was it Barbara?
No, it wasn't that, it wasn't that,
Maybe that
mine
was
was
the
more of
first
a,
meeting.
mine, I abstained from some financial stuff because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't wanna vote on something that I wasn't present
Okay.
for.
The second one was finance about the requirement increased, for the 2 signatures
Mm-hmm,
from 25 to 35.
mm-hmm.
Was there just?
There was a motion, no, that one was okay, I had that. There was a motion to override the tax levy cap, and 10 approved and 1 abstained.
That was Hormoz.
That was
Yeah,
Hormoz.
Hormoz, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just missing the approval of the disaster plan. I think it was Barbara, but I'm not gonna guess, so
Mhm.
when she comes, I'll ask her.
And we can add in the point that Kathy was making,
Mhm.
Tabling the,
where was, that was under the treasurer's report.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have that in my notes, my handwritten notes. I have the cards, and then we went into an executive session.
That's the May meeting?
That was May, yeah.
Well, in April, I handed out the reports, and then we said we're gonna table it.
Okay.
Right, so that was caught in
April.
April.
Right, I wasn't at the May meeting, so I don't.
Okay.
I'll just.
Was
look
Casey
at
voted
that.
in?
Report
Impression that-
presented at the May meeting?
I'm sorry, Grace?
Was the report presented at the May meeting?
I gave them to
It
everybody.
had been
So
presented
was the
prior.
report, did somebody
we
made a
presented
motion
prior.
to accept the treasurer's report?
No,
No, it was tabled.
Not in April.
No, in
In
April,
April,
we
but in
understand, but in
May-
May, did somebody brought the report and did you guys made a motion to approve the report of the treasurer?
Casey seemed to feel that it had been okay up until March. But because the previous board had vetted January and February, that was that those were accepted.
Yeah, but the thing on question is
Right.
that it
Is
was
there a
tabled on April, so it has to be brought back in May for your approval. Do you
Right.
have in your minutes that
No.
was approved?
I don't have in my minutes that it was brought back
Okay,
and
so that means
readdressed.
it needs to be tabled again now and brought back in July.
Okay, so when we get to the treasurer's report, would we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Casey's
But in the
not here.
meantime, right now, you need to make a motion that you approve the minutes with the amendments put forward, which are the names of the people and
Yeah,
the table.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
Would like to make that motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as read and with the amendments of the people that have been added for the abstentions and for the discussion about the historic
Financial report.
financial reports being tabled.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor? Unanimous?
So in the July meeting, just make sure that Casey presents all the different months and you approve it all in one shot, and that should be the end of it.
Great. I'm glad to have those over with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've done the minutes, next correspondence, any
I
correspondence?
have some cards. This one just came in today. Please replace the missing bench outside for handicapped people who need a place to sit. Michelle Dixler. There's a couple of reasons why we didn't do that. First of all, the garden club has, for the past, this is the 3rd year, I believe, purchased planting boxes and put them right where you would put a bench. When we had the bench before, it starts to look old and worn, we had to chain it to the building, and it tended thus to be more for handicapped people and more for people who probably shouldn't be there. Not that they should or shouldn't be there, I mean, it's just, it became more of like a
Nuisance.
hangout nuisance kind of a place. At this point, I wouldn't want to insult the Monroe Woodbury Garden Club by changing the arrangement to flowers. That's just my personal feelings. I understand that it was a nice thing at the time. Next. Oh, this is from Vince LaSalle, who just left. She is always helpful and goes out of her way to help. I think it's Katina.
Looks like Lynn.
Lynn.
It's Lynn at the bottom.
That's it, Lynn.
Oh, she's new, right?
Lynn always is always helpful and goes out of her way to help. Someone else, Rochelle Marshall, I would have to assume, says, an amazing evening. My emotions are still reeling. What a story regarding Harvey Horn's Living History Night. And then this last, to whom it may concern, I have frequented many libraries throughout the country, or county, let's say, and have never found one more knowledgeable, accommodating, and friendly than here in Monroe. It is a pleasure to come here. If I can't find what I'm looking for, they don't just tell me where it is, they take me to it. And they always have a smile. Most sincerely, Beverly Carley.
That's great, that's a
I
great
love it when they're all
compliment.
nice.
Yeah, and deservedly so.
We got a rocking
Yeah.
staff, that's right.
That's all I
Okay, you're on,
have.
Director,
Okay,
moving right along.
moving right along. You know, we do have an Artist of the Month, so if you ever have a chance to drop in and see the Artist of the Month, the Artist of the Month this month is an older woman, more my mother's age, 92, still like my mother, rare to go. She has different kinds of work based on Leonardo da Vinci, that kind of look. She has copied a lot of his work, but she also did some seascapes, which are just absolutely beautiful. The paint is laid on very thickly. So if you can have a chance, just kind of take a look at that. Programming you can read for yourself.
Is that displayed here in the library somewhere?
Yes, if you go to the reference desk and then take a left,
Oh, okay.
up against the wall over here,
Oh, okay.
there were those 2 fabric boards that they put, and we used that for Artist of the Month.
Nice,
So
okay.
if you know any artists, please have them contact us. It's true, because we're kind of running out. We've been having an Artist of the Month for 2 years, and now we're sort of running out of artists. Okay, all right. Quite a while ago, but I wasn't ready to put it forward then, but I met with this man named Kim something. I have cards for you all. Here they are. This is something called Field Goods. And what it is it's all these farmers from all over the place. If you want to pass those out. And they grow organically, and people contract with this company to get fresh produce.
Chester doesn't.
We don't have to solicit people, all we have to do is take possession of whatever they've ordered, and they come and pick it up. The nice part is, they have maybe 2 hours to pick it up. They're not lingering with rotting vegetables in the library. I talked to all the department heads, they all felt it was okay, it was doable. So let's say they came in at 12 and they told their people they had to have it picked up by 2, or whatever the hours were. If it's not gone by 2, staff gets it. So I thought it was a nice service. The man is very nice, and it's all fresh organic produce, and it's always different things. It's not always the same. It's whatever's in season.
Great.
Does the library get a percentage of
We
what
don't
they
get
spend?
anything. No, it's just a community
A
service
community
that we would
service.
be doing.
It couldn't
What we
really
get
be
is
2
the,
o'clock.
No, I don't know, it's whatever he arranges with those people. Maybe certain people don't buy but once a month. And then he'll arrange the time with them to come and they drop it off, and within that 2-hour period, it's gone, or it's ours. So, if no one has a problem with that, I would like to begin
I think it's
having this
great.
relationship.
Should be large amounts of bags though, just so you know.
Can be, it would be nice.
Because Chester posts,
Yes.
when theirs comes in and it's large amounts of
Yes.
bags.
Where would
Yes.
they be?
We would put them in the kitchen, and just line them up in the kitchen.
John, what's a large amount?
More than the kitchen table.
But they get picked up quickly.
Do you have
Sure,
overflow
if you're gonna
space
pay
just
for
in
it, right?
Yeah, right,
We
exactly.
felt we did. We felt we had the floor space to
Okay.
accommodate this.
You know, if you feel that's your
Yep,
your sweet spot, so if
Yep.
you feel you have the space, yeah, go
just
for
didn't
it.
want to do it without letting,
Yeah, it's kinda interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
And
it's a
you
great
wanna do it
community
yourself.
service.
I know.
Exactly. Exactly.
He actually gave us a sample, like that we could pick from. I took the lettuce, somebody took the blueberries, somebody took the squash.
Where's our PR committee? Who's throwing our PR? There you go.
Yeah, that's a good,
Yeah.
It needs to put a little Monroe Free Library tag on their card somewhere.
We need to not do this on a Sunday though.
Well, you know what, this is not,
No, and here's why I'm saying that, because you have the local market
Oh,
here
yeah.
on
Yeah.
Sundays that
I
you
don't
don't
think
wanna.
they do, I think it's during the week.
Well, yeah, which is fine, I'm just saying, you know, we could do
But
a
I'll make
Saturday,
sure.
but I wouldn't do a Sunday, because
Yeah.
then you're in direct competition with
Yeah.
them,
good
and we
point.
wanna be a good steward to the community.
Plus, we have abbreviated hours on Sunday and abbreviated staff,
Right,
so
right.
it wouldn't be good for us
No, no.
even on that basis.
Yep.
So you would let people go in and just take their own bag, or do you have to have a staff member there handing?
I think people go take their own bag.
Mhm.
It seemed very simple.
Yeah, okay.
When does the teen assistance start?
The what?
Your teen
Teens?
program? Where maybe they could
Probably-
assist you with that?
With getting those people to those bags?
Sure.
You know, we have busy times here and not so busy times here, but there's always people available
Mm.
to help a person get to what they need, whatever that
Yeah.
is. There is, that's just what we do.
And you might
Okay.
find the first time it's so easy that nobody even needs to
Right.
help.
You don't
Know where
need
it
to
is, just
augment,
go
but
there, or they
Yeah.
might
You
be
know.
behind the reference desk and they just go pick up their bags and off they go.
Yeah.
The blood drive, we got 117 pints, yay us,
Wow.
yes. All right, a while back, we started noticing that people were illegally dumping in our dumpster. So I went to the police, and they said if we posted on there that it was our property, that he would ticket them if they came. So we got the stencil, we had it put onto there. And just the other day, somebody dumped so much garbage, and we know it's not ours because the garbage people took a picture of it. We had to pay $30 extra.
Whoa.
So today, NAS came in and changed the angle of the camera so that we could see the dumpster, and we're gonna start getting on it.
Good,
I like it.
Yeah.
especially if it's costing us money.
$30.
Yeah.
That's what forced me into
Was it like construction
big black garbage bags.
Mm.
They did their spring cleaning and
Yeah.
where the dumpster bin
Right.
for them.
And then someone dumped a whole bunch of stuff which we have to schlep into the garbage in the back of the book garden building that faces the theater.
I saw that the
Yes.
other day, and I thought, why are they throwing stuff
Yeah,
outside?
so we have to go back,
Because they
Alex
can.
has been helping, it's Alex, Joanne and I. On a Wednesday, we bring our crummy clothes,
Mhm.
and we've been doing some cleaning in the book garden and, other stuff.
And now we saw that there's a sign of no smoking on the book garden. Are people standing there smoking?
They're not anymore, no one's been smoking,
Okay.
yeah,
But they were?
yes.
Okay.
So
Doesn't
that's,
take much, does it, for it to fall apart?
The whole city
Even
isn't gonna
when-
smoke
yeah.
like that.
And I see people are leaving books over there too.
yes,
You know.
but,
It's
you
only
know,
been
that's the way
closed for
it
2
is.
years.
Right.
Maybe today they'll take books.
Okay,
Well, they
moving
mean
along.
Yeah.
I have one last thing. Best Mechanical hasn't been here yet, but they do realize that they have to come. It's been the weather that's been a problem, and we are in the rota, so that's going. Larkin Grant. When they said that we were going to have, they said, once it's approved, you'll get the grant distribution form. You just fill that out, send it back, you're gonna get your check. Well, the thing was it's 23 pages, and it has taken the better part of my life in frustration. With all kinds of attending documents and calling them and saying, well, what do you mean by this? And we need that, and weird things, just a lot of weird things. I have finally gotten it all. The only thing left, I emailed Pat today with the legal form. We do have to hire a lawyer and they give you the document, you just have to have it on the legal form, and it has to follow their template. Once I have that legal document, which I hope you'll approve, and otherwise we don't get the 50,000. Everything's done, I just have to transfer it over to the 2 hard copies that they want. Pat has to come in and sign and notarize, and I'll mail it in, and hopefully we'll get that done.
Is there a deadline
No.
on that?
I'll mail you a signature.
Now, we need a lawyer for this, and I don't know that this is the part to bring it up or under grants.
Except that, I just wanted to give you an update where we are with this, and I guess then talk about the lawyer,
Okay,
and then I'm done.
all right, maybe we'll wait until we get to grants. Okay, director's report, treasurer's report.
Here.
Did everybody get Tracy's or Casey's, email?
It's the same thing that was printed out on this?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's
he
the,
also sent an email.
What was his email? Why, I don't think I got it.
He sent it today.
yeah,
Yeah.
all audit proposals is what it says. That's the heading on it. Let's see.
That's why I'm telling you, see, he starts out, in review of the unapproved monthly records for March and April. He says the same thing in essence for May. And in speaking to him about this, he feels that up until March had been approved.
Yeah, as long as you have a motion somewhere in the minutes. Do you have a motion in March?
No,
I don't know.
there was no March meeting. There was no meetings from November through March.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So then,
nope. You need to have a motion that states you approve the report of the following things.
He proposes the motion, but he proposes the motion to approve and accept the March and April financial statements, and then another to propose motion to approve and accept May financial statements.
So it's two motions.
There's two separate motions.
Who's going, but he's not here to present them.
No.
He's got it all, I sent it to you, Grace. I don't think he,
Did you get it?
I don't think he sent it to you.
You mean read it? I have it right
I
here.
couldn't get it.
I have it too.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I think he fell under the, either spelling my name wrong. I've been missing a bunch of emails.
Have you?
But we figured out
I think
what
we
it was
did.
there, but he may have that dot co or whatever. So I didn't get
Okay.
it.
Has everybody got it up?
I'll look here.
Okay, it says June 2017 meeting items. The number one.
One
in-
second, 1 second.
You got it?
Still looking for it.
Well,
Okay.
you know, why don't you use mine, because I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
It's easier to read on.
Yeah, I have to
Print out.
I'm sure you do.
I totally didn't get this.
Okay, good to go?
Yeah, thank you.
In review of the unapproved monthly records for March and April 2017, no items of concern were identified. Beginning and ending balances tied appropriately, and budget to actual was reasonable in all material aspects. These financials are unapproved currently. So what we need is a motion to approve and accept the March and April financial statements.
I make that motion to approve and accept the March and April financial statements.
We have a second? Jack seconds. All in favor?
Give me 1 second.
Wait, just let Anna Marie write up that motion.
So we're approving March and April?
March and
Yes.
April
Yes.
financials, yeah.
Thank you.
Right, as per the recommendation of the treasurer.
Of the treasurer, yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed?
No, it's unanimous.
Okay.
Nobody to oppose, it's unanimous.
That's true. Makes it easy.
yeah.
Okay, number two, in review of the unapproved monthly records for May 2017, no items of concern were identified. Beginning and ending balances tied appropriately, and budget to actual was reasonable in all material aspects. These financials are unapproved currently. We need a motion to approve and accept the May financial statements.
I make a motion to approve and accept the May financial statements as brought forth or suggested by the treasurer, Casey.
I second it.
Donna seconds. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
I like
Oh.
unanimous.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I have confidence in Casey.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Okay, now, the next thing is, as Tom Craven's offer did not include CHAR 500 and 990 submissions, we inquired as to the additional cost associated. it was determined that the bid would be nearly $15,000, and so Tom's office rescinded their bid. They knew they were too high and did not want to receive a rejection letter. So, this was something that came up when we read through all the paperwork that they sent. I was talking to Marilyn, and I said something about the fact that they were asking for 2,000 here, and we were already paying them 12 something. So I said, are we gonna pay them another 2,000? So we looked into it and we found out that it was significantly, when I saw the price, I said, woo, that's a lot. So subsequently, they withdrew their bid. So, the proposed motion to rescind the offer made by Tom Craven's office, I don't know whether that's necessary.
If they rescinded their bid,
Then we shouldn't,
then
it's
there's no
gone.
need.
Okay. And, all right, we need a motion to hire Lorelei Pitt to complete the work for $9,750. That's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And that includes the 2016 audit report, creation of financial statements, and submission of the CHAR 500 and 990. So do we have a motion to that effect? That we hire Lorelei Pitt, CPA, to complete the work at $9,750, which includes the 2016 audit report, creation of financial statements, and submission of the CHAR 500 and 990.
Can you just remind me who Lorelei Pitt is? I know she's a CPA, but how
Marilyn,
did she come
do you wanna-
about?
She came about, she was probably our second auditor. We
Okay.
had Cindy Ferguson, and she'd worked for us before.
Okay,
She's actually been won awards, and
I didn't remember her name. I know you talked about her before, thank you.
So, is somebody gonna make that motion for us?
Oh, sure, I'll go for the triple.
Oh, wow, the trifecta.
I make a motion that we accept the Lorelei Pitt CPA contract to complete the work for our audit at a price of $9,750, which includes that 2016 audit report, creation of the financial statements, and submission of the CHAR 500 and 990,
As for,
as per the treasurer, Casey.
I second.
His recommendation.
All in favor? Ah, those are unanimous. We're knocking them out of the park tonight. Okay. As a for your information.
Can I abstain?
No, you can't, you're not
I made the
allowed.
motion, it's really weird if I did. I could.
people
Am I
have.
right?
Yes, make the motion, then abstain. As a,
Yes, he is.
My job.
for your information, changes previously implemented, the increase of the signatory authorization to 3,500 and the reallocation of payroll accounting away from Trustco Bank have resulted in found deficiencies, and the new process is running smoothly. That's what he's reporting. We changed those bank accounts.
Yay.
So, there's no motion needed there. Lastly, the resolution of the Aflac payments were well received among those affected and seem to be a good first step to show the board stands behind the staff. Yes.
Great. Nice.
I just have a question. That report is going to be attached to the minutes that Anne Marie is writing.
Okay.
Is that a question?
Well, I'm just saying, are they going to be attached?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
And
Since
I
we can
think,
get her email address correct.
It's actually correct on that.
Oh, really?
It's your email.
and I'm reading these
Stop
things
filtering.
because, I think it's
Spam.
important for it to be on the tape.
All right.
The finance committee, a discussion,
Wait,
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 one second,
point of
one
order.
second.
yes.
Point of order, that's not part of the treasurer's report, that would be part of the financial
Thank
committee,
you,
the
Charlie.
finance committee
Okay,
report.
we'll leave that till later.
So, yeah, table that until then.
Okay,
But what, now, am I gonna make a note here that we're tabling this?
No.
No, 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 no,
just
no,
not
no,
gonna
no, it's just
discuss
that that's not appropriate to talk about
Yeah,
as part of the
Charlie's right.
treasurer's report. That's part of the
Charlie's
No, I
finance
know, I'm
committee
asking
report.
a separate question.
No,
Okay.
Okay, so treasurer's report, so we already made the motion to approve the auditor, so we're good there, so we need committee reports. Nominating,
We
Done.
haven't met yet.
okay.
Nothing's going on yet.
Building and grounds,
Okay, we actually had a co-meeting, with, library operating, and that meeting was on June 18th, and we discussed 2 items of interest, as well as a third item.
Not June 18th, that hasn't happened yet.
I'm not June 18th, I'm sorry, May 18th, to discuss 2 items of cross-interest to the library and both of the committees, as well as a third item came up, which is actually line item here. Those 2 things were potentially building a deck area back here in the back that would allow us to basically level the area in the back because it's kind of rocky. There was abandoned construction material, etc. But the long and short of it is, after the library staff had conversations about this, it was felt that that would really probably not even be used very often. So we tabled that and said, okay, well, what other ideas could we come up with to basically be able to leverage that area back there for our public. And one of the ideas that we were talking about earlier was potentially finishing that area off and basically coming in with new dirt, potentially sodding that, putting up new fencing along the back there, because the chain link fence in the very, very back there is not ours. That's actually our neighbor's. So we would want to put up some nice fencing to be able to fence that off and dedicate that as our property, as well as put a gate and fence over here on the side. And that way kids can come over here with, the moms can bring their little toddlers over and give them a little play area outside. Because we really don't have a lot of outside space that can be leveraged as a nice area, and potentially maybe even putting in like a little side bench or something on there. So we're looking at that along with the potential of using grant money to do that. But when you start to look at that, by the time you've spent your time building that grant paperwork and getting it submitted and everything else, it really probably wouldn't benefit us as much as if we just found a way to be able to finance that ourselves. That might be where we go to the town board and we talk to them about that. And say, look, you want to do something, and oh, that was the other thing, yes, there were some like canopy type parachute awnings that we can put back there, so that way it's not just open, hello, go out and burn yourself after 15 minutes, to give you a little bit of shaded space, and it would benefit the public, and I think it would really, really be nice. So we talked about that.
could I just interject here, Charlie? I just wanted to say how well thought out Joy had been about the project.
Absolutely.
All the way along, as far as thinking about the gate and how it had to be constructed so that you could still get the snowplow in
Yep.
there, the awning and everything. She
No,
really did
Joy-
a fabulous
I agree, it was
job.
very impressive.
Joy
Yes.
and the entire library staff have done a really, really good job about not being afraid to give us feedback on
Yeah.
what it is that they need so that we make them successful, and therefore it makes the library successful to the public. And that's really why we're here. So we're considering doing that. We just, at the time, we're trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to do in terms of financing? So maybe the town board, this would be their project, and maybe they could leverage their people to come in and do all of this, and that way they get it at a discount, but we still get what we want. We spec out what we want, and they come put it in.
Yeah.
So we have a follow-up meeting this coming up this July. We were gonna try to do that in June, and I didn't get the opportunity to schedule anything because of the bylaws stuff, which will be coming. The other thing we were talking about was demolishing the eyesore next door. Because quite honestly, right now, it's not only an eyesore, but it's a hazard to everybody's health that goes in there because of the mold and the issues of old equipment. And the building, quite literally, is starting to crumble. So what we were looking at was trying to figure out that might be where we could leverage the grant money. The challenge is we needed to come up with an idea of what would it cost to basically completely razz that building and demo it completely back to the ground. Because there's asbestos in there, it's gonna be expensive. And so we batted around some numbers and finally decided on a $30,000 fee would be nice to be able to submit as this is what it's gonna cost. We went out for a bid with Balfour, I believe it is, and they came back and said that it would be 10 times that amount or more at $360,000 to mitigate the asbestos and level that building. So we were just a little under on getting that done. Now, we are looking at potentially going out to get additional bids, and we will be going out to do that. I actually tried pursuing some stuff, but you have to remember, it's not just knocking it down and leaving it there. You have to cart it away, and because there's asbestos involved, there's special remediation that has to be done in where they put that when they cart it away. So that's where a big chunk of the expense is, yeah.
What is asbestos that's in there?
There is, that's the ironic part about it. The glazing around the windows is asbestos.
Okay.
And there's a lot of windows. So that gets involved. The only other place that there's asbestos from the original report is if you look right out this window, there's a little window there, and that was the x-ray exam room. And the tile has asbestos in it.
Right.
So it's
Now,
it's probably a third of this room in
that
size.
public property or private property?
We own it.
We own it.
Okay.
I did call Steve Hofer.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's
Josh.
it considered? Is it considered private with the
No,
organization
because we
owning
are a
it?
public organization, it would be a
We're
public.
we're private, not for profit.
Oh, then it would be considered private.
Okay.
I
What does that
called
mean?
Steve Hofer.
Well, privately, you can remove it yourself and remediate yourself as long as it's under a certain amount.
It's very minimal, but we would have to have the building reevaluated because it's been so long since the last asbestos remediation
Right.
thing,
What about lead?
survey. I'm sorry.
What about lead? Was it
There
ever
was,
evaluated
I
for
think there was
lead?
I
nominal
don't think there was
lead.
no lead, essentially no mold. The
Okay.
mold they said inside was the same as you'd find outside.
Yes. Yeah, it's because the roof is starting to cave in and
No,
collapse,
yeah.
and water's getting in there into those tiles, and that's what's causing the mold. So she's right. It's the same thing you get underneath the dead leaves on the ground. It's the exact same mold. It's not black mold or anything like
Yeah.
that. But to people like me, I walk into that and it's immediate seizure.
Well, with it being private, if you look into it to see if privately it could be remediated, I would take care of removing what needs to be remediated. I have RRP certification,
Oh, you do?
yes.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
Joshua Davies. Which is
Joshua
just
has
your,
an
which is
application
just
fee
your
on the
general,
Oh, okay.
building certification. I also am
Yeah.
lead certified as well.
There's
I don't think
also
there's any in there,
petroleum
Joshua.
contamination under the foundation.
There was an oil tank on the other side of the property. It was supposedly remediated, but they believe that there still is residual oil that had leaked into the ground that
You
might
don't
have to be
have to do
remediated.
anything about
No.
that.
No, because after a while, I would imagine after so many years, it just,
The plumage from that is just so far.
it abates, yeah.
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 Yeah,
But those are the
I-
main considerations.
I would look into seeing if privately, since it is private, and see if it falls under the amount that you could privately have it remediated by somebody, not paying them, because you can't pay, to have it done.
Can we make a donation to them?
I wouldn't take a donation, but I would do it. It would save a lot of headache, and then you can just get your
And a
get your
lot of
demo
money.
permit.
Well, because the theory behind this is, again, we would eventually like to try to put in some type of building on that property that would give us the things that we're sorely deficient in.
You know,
And
and
so those are one of the things that we're looking at is first getting rid of that
right.
and making it now a greenfield space that we can say, okay, now what do we put in there? As part of the grant program, as long as we can say, here's what we're proposing to put in.
Well, on the carting of the stuff away, you could call up Taylor Recycling and see if they could, you know, do a deal for you that way. You know, on the carting away, and as far as, you know, finding somebody to knock it down and throw it into the dumpsters, you just put that out to bid. I mean, it's not a big building.
Well,
It'll take 2 hours.
To that end, I called Steve Hofer and Moffett Library, you know, they're doing their big project. They had to knock down 2 houses, both of which, by the way, had asbestos. And to knock down 2 houses, which were 2 stories, with asbestos, ran $195,000. It's a lot less than 360.
Yeah, that's all.
And that was two
And that was two
buildings.
buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're public. Yes?
Well, actually they're UW Marks, which we had been dealing with originally when we were doing this project. And they're actually gonna come tomorrow morning, well, actually tomorrow at 1, to take a look, to see and give their input.
Oh, interesting, okay.
But what you're saying
Yeah.
is
Well,
extremely
cheaper.
attractive.
asbestos is a catchword, you know what I mean? It all has to do with how much you actually have and what form it is. You know, whether it's harmful during the process of knocking it down.
I have the report if you'd like to come in and take a look at it,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, you know, but
In here is also your fob, that you can let yourself in next time.
does the village require a demo permit?
Yes. Yes, they will.
And does the permit, you know, state that you have to have the evaluation on the building before you can demo it?
That I don't know, we haven't gotten that far, but I do know that they require a permit for demo.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but
okay.
I don't know the specifics of it yet. We haven't gotten into that nitty gritty because
Okay.
we got the $360,000 sticker shock and went,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Well,
that's a
that's because you
building.
threw out, that's because you threw out the asbestos word, and they think big remediation when you throw that word out, but from what you're talking about is minimal.
Yeah, no, it's,
I mean, we're not talking about a situation like up in New Windsor when they knocked down all those buildings and then found out afterwards and they've been sitting there for 3
oh,
years
yeah,
on
yeah,
the
no,
ground.
No, this actually had an engineering company come in and evaluate what was in the building, and they said, look, it's specific to the tile in this room because that was an X-ray room,
Yep.
and to all the glazing on the windows because that's how they did it back in the day. They
Right.
were like, oh, yeah, asbestos. Yeah.
Right. So those windows, you could take those windows out,
Yes.
and those windows can be dumpstered.
Josh, right?
Yes.
If you could get together with us and, I don't know how.
Well, as long as he finds out the specifics on it, I have no problem taking care of it.
What about insurance coverage? Like, it wouldn't be workers' comp if, heaven forbid, there was a problem. What would,
Well, you
You
must
have
have your own
insurance that would
insurance,
cover?
don't you?
Yeah, I'll sign a waiver.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
I move we nominate him to be on the board.
Well, he has actually applied to be on the board.
But he can't be on the board
Not yet,
until we
no.
resolve this,
Yeah,
because
well,
then we've got a
and one or two other
conflict of
things. So,
interest.
Yeah.
but at any rate, those to put it in a nutshell, those were the two things that we discussed, and we will be having a follow-up meeting July. I just have to be a little less lazy and try to find a date and a time where we can have a joint meeting with library operating and with building and grounds, so that we can pursue both of these. Because I think if we can get on this, we'll definitely be able to get the grant money that we need and maybe get this so that now the majority of that money goes towards a building and actually building it rather than tearing what's there down.
Well, I did call Steve to say
Yeah.
that maybe the project wasn't gonna come in at the price we thought.
Yeah,
And he said, not a big deal, there's people who haven't even submitted yet, he's just trying to
Oh,
get an
nice.
idea, so.
get a feel for
We
it.
still have some time,
So tell him it's
All
gonna
right,
be
Grace?
5.3 million.
but I thought I should be upfront with him.
Tell him it's gonna be 5.3 million and see if he hangs up on you.
He'll never hang up.
So that's my committee report for building and grounds.
one more
What
thing.
about the flag?
Yeah, the,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. And then it came about the flagpole that had actually been discussed, where right out here at the beginning of the driveway, as you pull up on the right, there's some gravel that's there in like a little triangle. And unfortunately, people park on that, which causes it to become a mini sinkhole. So it was proposed that we put a flagpole out there. It was just recently brought up at another meeting that we had, I think it was bylaws though, where there is an Eagle Scout project. That a potential project that this kid wants to fulfill his Eagle Scout obligations, and maybe this could actually be presented to him to put it forward where he would do all the work and would coordinate all of that. So we would again be helping the public, and in turn having the Boy Scouts of America help us.
You know, it would be nice
So it's a
around
big PR thing.
around the flagpole would be nice to put like a round bench around it so that you could sit under it and it would be attached.
With
so
a
it
light.
could- Yeah.
I was gonna say, my son happens to be an Eagle, and my grandson is very involved, and we're involved in Eagle projects as we speak, tomorrow night. So I know how huge an Eagle project has to be. To simply put a flag in the ground
It's
is
not
not
just
an
gonna be
Eagle
that.
project. It wouldn't be able to be. Maybe they might build up a wall and fill it with dirt and put plantings with the front, that's an Eagle project.
And that's what we're talking about, is that, now, we would have to fund it. We would have to help fund it, I
No,
believe.
they fund it.
Oh, do they fund-
No,
okay.
they get the funding.
Okay,
Also,
I
raise the
said corrected
funds.
then.
Charlie, should we do that now in case there's construction next door? Shouldn't we wait on the flagpole instead of putting
I
money into
don't
it?
think that's gonna be impacted, because it's so far away from the building that it would,
Trucks won't be going
no,
in.
and if they do,
Because that
then,
was my concern.
then
Then
we
they
get
gotta
Josh to
fix
help
it.
us sue them, that's
Okay,
all.
They would
Josh,
come
you
in for the
overcommitted
sign.
yourself, you don't even know it. Thank you very much, though. No, but wait, I don't think that would impact that, and
Okay.
really, I don't know what the time frame is on the Eagle Scout of when he has to start it, when he has to finish it, et cetera, but it was something that was
Depends on how old he
proposed.
is.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of consideration, so we need to
Yes, 2
bring
years.
that in. I don't want that to drop, because I also don't wanna have to now mitigate that every year that we get ice, snow, rain, flooding, the whole
Well, do you
bit.
know who this scout is? Because he would have to bring you a proposal.
Yes, we know who the scout is.
Yeah, so if you
And
think,
somebody you know, right, Anne Marie?
Yes.
yeah, then, because that has to be approved by council. It has to have, be big enough.
The Scout Council,
Mhm.
yes. It also has to be approved by the board, but I wanted to put this in the board's ear so that they aren't blindsided by this and saying, what is Building and Grounds doing? No, we're definitely trying to accommodate some of the projects that have been ongoing and been discussed and still keep them alive. I don't want them to drop, just because there's been a change in figurehead here. I wanna continue doing those projects, so that was the third thing that we were talking about.
I think
So,
it's a great idea. I
yeah.
think a flag should be out there.
Yeah.
Just one comment.
Yeah.
Just check with engineering to make sure that it's able to go there.
Yeah, that's the only other thing is the easement. I don't know how far back it has to be set. It might have to come back further, but the outside of this podium flagpole thing could potentially be right there on the edge and help us mitigate the issue. But yeah, I have to check with engineering to figure out what's going on with that.
Okay, that's great. And I think it'd be wonderful to bring in a scout project. Anything that ties the library with the rest of the community, I think is terrific.
Absolutely.
All right, Charlie, I think you're on again.
That's me again.
No, wait a second.
Nope. Yeah, it is. Yeah, sure it is. Okay, so now we'll hear from me again. I'm gonna pass something around, and there might be extra copies for the public so that they have as well. If you'll basically take one and pass, and I'll wait for everybody to get that. We had 2 meetings. We had one in May and we had one just this past Thursday. Just so you know, every first Thursday of the month, the bylaws committee meets right here in conference room B to discuss the bylaws that we have. I'm gonna pass this around just so you see what I did to it to make it a little bit more readable. But I created a cover page for the bylaws, and then what I did was I also created an index so that if you wanted to very quickly reference, well, where do we cover that? The very first 2 pages of this are an index.
Right.
So that now you know exactly where it is and what page it's on. So I'll pass this around, but this is the bylaws. Now here's the funny thing, I never got, as the bylaws chair, the old sets of bylaws or anything to say, this is what we're currently running under. So de facto, because this came right off of the website, this is what we're living and breathing on, people. Okay?
That is what, yes.
So, what I want to do is, I'm going to get this to Alex to basically take this and put this up there in either Word or PDF, I don't really care which format. So, or if there's a way to webify it, that we could actually have it be there just like it is here.
Yeah, it's in HTML now. I'd be happy to transcribe it.
Yeah, not I can send you the Word document and you can do whatever you want with it.
Great.
Okay? And that actually was sent to you, a copy of it. Did I send that to you? I'll send you a copy. And if you want to, whoops, I'm sorry, I'll let you look at this first. But what we did was we discussed a bunch of the different bylaws that we would like to see changed for a couple of different reasons. The very first one that I'd like to propose tonight that we would like to change is the numerical numbering of our bylaws. And if you look at the existing bylaws as they are right now, we have 2 Article 7s. So the second Article 7 is called amending the bylaws. And so my proposed change for that is to make that Article 8 amending the bylaws rather than having it reflect Article 7 amending the bylaws. Okay, so that's the first change.
Oh, wait a second there,
Wait a
Charlie.
minute, both this, amending the bylaws are 7 and amending the bylaws 8?
Oh, I see, because Article
Yes.
7 is
Well,
meetings,
not
and then
until- not
Article
until
7
voted.
again is
Yes.
amending the bylaws.
Correct.
Changing just the number.
Correct. So all I'm doing is changing the number from Article 7 to Article 8, because this
Okay.
is the second Article 7, and it currently is called Article 7 amending the bylaws. That needs to now reflect Article 8 amending the bylaws. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the proposed first change.
What was the first 7 again?
The
Meetings.
first setting was, 7 was meetings,
Meetings, okay.
and that will stay.
Okay.
Okay, my second proposed change, which is back to this quote-unquote Article 7, number 2, since it hadn't been changed yet. It states amendments to these bylaws may be proposed, and this, I'm sorry, Section 1, presentation and approvals. Amendments to these bylaws may be proposed at any regular meeting, but become effective only after a majority vote at the subsequent regular meeting. We're changing that verbiage to basically state the following, and you'll see it in red and below. And there is an addition to something that I didn't realize. This is actually requires a 2/3 majority vote, or basically 2/3 vote, I'm sorry, or what is called a large majority. So we changed this to state amendments to the bylaws are proposed at a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees and become effective after a large majority vote at that meeting. Right now, what will happen is, we won't vote on this tonight. Because our current bylaws basically state on both of these, we discussed them tonight, we will vote on these in our next regular meeting in July. But these are the 2 proposed changes to the amendment, or excuse me, to the bylaws that we're putting forth. Any questions, comments? Okay.
All right, moving right along. Finance. Now is the time to bring up that statement
Right.
of Casey's that we had before.
Correct.
And, okay, the Finance Committee,
Oh, yeah, we have it in, yeah.
You want me to read it? I have it.
yeah,
here.
go ahead, Charlie.
Finance Committee. A discussion was had to determine if Maria's employment classification is correctly assessed as a 1099 versus full-time employee. Per on the discussion had, it was determined based on IRS criterion that Maria is correctly treated as a 1099 employee, or a 1099, I'm sorry. It was also determined that Maria should be operating under a contract as the nature of her work and the continued on-site presence presents certain liabilities, etc. for MFL. Maria will work with Mary and Marilyn to draw up and execute a contract which is appropriate for all parties and will confer with RCLS for best practices for such contracts to ensure that risks/liabilities are appropriately mitigated. That's
And
it.
Maria has already worked up a contract, but you just haven't,
Marilyn just has to give the final.
And I didn't send it to RCLS.
yeah.
So put
Yeah.
in there.
And he's requesting that, so we need to do
Right.
that as well.
Right, that was the first I had heard of that.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just put that off until the next board meeting, and we should be able to.
But I will say, so far, I approved. Mary had some good suggestions that she threw in there,
Mm-hmm,
and it was a good job.
so we'll put that off, dealing with that until the next board meeting. Charlie, this looks very nice.
I know.
Yeah, looks good.
Trying to make it easier to
Very
read
professional.
because it was kind of a mishmash
Oh,
out
yeah, I see.
there.
Ecological
To where you need to go.
Okay, fundraising. Da-da-da-da. Petitions. Okay. Now, the best way to lead is by example. So, I tried to scare up Anne Marie yesterday to go down to town to get petitions, and she didn't get my email in time.
Oh, I thought
So,
you sent it for today. I just got it.
yeah, I sent it on Saturday
Oh.
because we said something about going Sunday afternoon.
I know, I'm like, sure, I'm free tomorrow. I thought you would.
Well,
You
the
wanna
thing
go
of it
tomorrow?
is, once I get a focus, I'm like, ah. So I truthfully have to say I accost people. There's no other way to put it. But I get into a lot of interesting discussions. I talked to a man who was from Panama who works at ShopRite and also works at West Point, who is going to become a citizen soon. But his wife was coming to pick him up. She says she'll sign it. He told me how important libraries were to the community and how much that he didn't feel people appreciated what they had in this country as far as the importance of libraries and a lot of other things. So, this sounds like an onerous task, but it ends up being a positive. And the reason I say that is because it gives you an opportunity to advocate for the library. People are able to put a face to the library board members. I think that it helps the members of the board feel more committed to the mission of the library. And not everybody can go and accost people like me. So if you don't feel comfortable, bring a friend.
Bring
So,
Pat.
What'd you say?
Bring Pat, she'll tackle it for you.
Yeah, I will.
Stop trying to run away.
And while I'm
Or Diane,
grabbing,
who seems to be able to get them out of the air too.
I work with a great group of people. I work in the Monroe Woodbury Transportation Department. And there's about 140 drivers and 130 of them live in Monroe.
No fair.
So I know.
Extra petitions here.
I got 60 of them in 2 days.
oh, that's
Yeah.
right, Terry said no
Because
fair.
a few, there's a couple of people there who all I have to do is say, can you help me? And they take the they take the position of going out there and saying, Diane needs you at her desk. And they just send them over and I just tell them to sign. So they're a great group of people. So they, and every one of them who signed it is, when is the book garden coming back? You have great programs, blah, blah, blah. The Ireland thing, everybody loved the Irish talk and the World War II. So, they're fully enmeshed.
Yeah,
in the
and that's
community.
the thing, it gives you an opportunity to speak up about the library, what we're doing, what kind of programs we have. If people have issues, it gives you an opportunity to address them. And you can always say, well, I don't know about that, but I'll find out and let you know. Give me your email address, things like that. I think it's a great way to get out into the community. And again, if you're not comfortable going by yourself, I'm willing to go.
By the way, we need 700 signatures and we're very close to 400. So we have, we're over the halfway mark.
And when those
I
are
met
due,
you-
They're
when?
due
Your next
at
door
last
neighbor.
Friday in August.
Last Friday.
Well,
on
but
it.
I like to, I have work to do on them
You
before
can't take my
that.
neighbor's signatures. They're gonna be my signatures.
I know.
Well, my next door neighbor just told me she signed in the library and I was counting on her, so.
And I had to have Charlie sign here because he didn't sign mine, so.
I met John Allegro.
She made me too. She wasn't gonna let me come back here at all.
Did you hit the market? Did you go to the market?
Well, no, I was.
That's what I was thinking.
I was in between ShopRite and whatever was next door to it, so nobody could yell at me that I was on their property, but I kept edging over because that's where the people were. But really, I have to say,
And I'll
most
take
people are
those
very
20,
nice.
Pat.
Okay, I've got to sign it though.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
all right, when you're ready, it's okay.
And,
I'm
keep
just
this.
very greedy about them. We add them up all the time.
So
over and over.
anyway, I'm counting on everybody to do their part.
I have one more thing for fundraising. As you know, my son is very involved in music. And he,
Really?
yeah, a little bit. And so, anyway, I'm sorry, he has a private teacher that is teaching him more of the, he has one teacher that does jazz and rock and another teacher that does more orchestral and symphonic and
It's all traditional percussion.
right. And anyway, so this guy who teaches him, he's going for his master's at Seton Hall, and he has a lot of students in the area. So he sat down and talked to me about doing something where, almost like a recital for his students, and he thought maybe it would be something good for the library. So we talked about where he would have, not where it's a recital where the little four-year-old sits and plays Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and although that's wonderful, that's not really what he's looking for. What he wants to do is have it as a community event where Josh, who will be a 14-year-old, will play maybe with a 5-year-old, and be a mentor to that child and show the difference between a high schooler and an elementary kid. He does mostly percussion, but he does do piano, some guitar, and what we're thinking of, he picked a Sunday in September where maybe we could do it for a 2-hour block, and his mother is willing to help out with maybe doing a bake sale, something that will bring people here and yet also be a fundraiser. So I don't know if any of you have any objections or ideas. I can talk with Mary and look at the calendar and see if that's something that you want to do. The other thing that I would consider doing is going to Van Gelder and Arts and Music, that new one that's over by Walmart, and Mobile Music, and see if they would like to donate a gift certificate to their stores, and then we can have a raffle, and sell tickets to that.
What about maybe a like a more, maybe a more of a participatory kind of?
Yeah, well,
like a workshop where
the other
kids can play with some of the kids that aren't musicians?
Yes, and that's what he did say. He would be bringing some of his instruments anyway, because not all the kids are, can carry a guitar. Some of them, like for example, Josh has this big, humongous marimba. He has a travel marimba that he would use. So he would have the instruments there. So maybe before or after, the kids can play and see. Some of them have never seen a marimba. It looks like a big xylophone.
I have to
Or
look up
some-
what that is.
I'm sorry?
I'm Googling what
do.
that is.
Oh.
Big Sesame Street.
It's huge. It takes up my whole living room, trust me. But it's a way to get kids looking at music in a different way, because he's not their teacher in school. But we can have the school teachers here, because some of them just know the kid, and as a music teacher, your kids in the classroom, and they're different outside the classroom. So, they might be doing things differently than they would be doing at school. In school, they're learning a specific song to play in their band. Where in private lessons, sometimes they go above what they are doing in school. So, it would be more of a fundraiser, getting people into the library who might not otherwise come to the library, getting music into the library, and bringing the community into the library through music.
And sometimes it's not always about the money, but about attracting people, new
Right.
people, different interests.
And there's a lot of programs that you do for the adults and the teens, but there's not that much, as far as musicals. I know you have the autistic gentleman, or
Yes,
the man who
Turtle Girls
teaches,
music, right.
which is great.
Right.
And I'm
It's
all
just
for,
it's another avenue for.
I'm all for more music everywhere,
We're
so.
always open to everything here.
Well, if we show that we're doing stuff, people will vote for our budget.
Right,
Yep, that's
exactly,
true.
exactly.
Absolutely, right.
And this will
Yep.
be, he's looking at a September 17th, which would be a Sunday. It's something that makes him available because he's not in school, obviously, on a Sunday. And as soon as I can confirm a date with him, then he'll be able to start telling his kids, his students, what is going to happen, and get them prepared for. Yeah, we could. That's why if it's still a nice, sometimes it's in summer, and it would be nice to be
Temperatures have
outside.
been nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And, we could put a tent up and have the kids outside, and then that attracts people who are walking around the ponds.
Yeah.
Might even
And-
see if we can rent like a little mini stage or something to put them on, so that it gets them up off the
I
grass.
think we have done that before.
Yeah,
They
we
do
have.
have them, yes.
And the
Yeah.
market happens on Sunday.
Mhm.
So there's people
Yes,
down here.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
maybe we should
Do two things at
correlate
once.
the timing with
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
could always
when
do a
the-
banner and just do it there in their parking lot.
That's kind of what,
Yeah, and then that way you can say Monroe Free Library presents,
Yes.
yeah.
you know, music at the, it's a
Farmer's
farm.
market.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Farm music.
I was
Yeah.
talking about that,
Buying
but
music
having
by the
kids
farmer's
bus.
market.
Yeah,
that is
Yeah,
a
I
good
know.
idea.
Yeah,
we don't have to always stay here on property.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
I have those
Diane.
Yeah.
Okay, library operating, that's Anne Marie.
Yes,
We miss grants.
Oh, grants, yeah.
You miss grants.
Denise isn't here, and I don't think she's worked on any grants.
Okay.
Okay,
Moving
now
on.
wait a second, we can't
talked
miss
about Larkin
grants. We can't miss grants because we have to talk about the lawyer. So thank you very much,
Oh.
Charlie. Because, we've, as I've said before, I wanna be very careful how we use our money on lawyers. We're not bleeding money anymore, but this is something that is imperative for us to get this grant up
It's
and running.
required of the
Yes.
grant, it's required.
So, I think we'll contact, Laura Wong-Pan and,
Is that who
see-
we've been using?
Yes,
Okay.
she's very nice. For this particular thing, I don't think we need a vote, but I think everybody should be informed that we need a lawyer, and, I don't, anybody have an objection to us getting a lawyer that'll allow us to get a $50,000 grant?
What's her bill rate?
$200 an hour.
What are we looking at an estimate of the time that would be invested?
Well, they
in her?
provide a template, so she just has to take that template and put her name on top of it and our information, and that.
Could
So
be-
we're looking at less than $1,000 of her time.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I just wanna stipulate that, you know, that we,
I wouldn't think it would be, I think $200.
What's the grant?
$50,000 grant.
What's
Yes.
who's it from and what's it for, like what?
Larkin
Senator
grant.
Larkin gave us a grant 2.5 years ago. And this is the last piece of it.
Yes, Kathy?
Is it something that I could volunteer my services to do?
You probably could. Yes, it's an easy thing, it's just a template.
If somebody wants to email it to me,
I
and I
will.
can look at it and get back to you before you spend money
Okay,
on
thank you.
Laura.
Thank you, Kathy.
That'd be awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
that's
you saved us a few bucks, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we resolved that.
Okay.
Library operating, Anne Marie?
We're going to be meeting on the 26th for our first meet. Well, we met with, Buildings and Grounds, and we're gonna do that again, but, and Charlie already went over all those points. So we're gonna be meeting on the 26th for our first solo meeting.
I'll avoid that date then for the joint meeting.
That's, please.
Otherwise it'll get real crowded in that room.
That's a
And there's
Monday
no
anyway,
Wi-Fi.
Charlie. That's a
Are you gonna
Monday.
talk about Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah,
With
yeah.
Buildings and Grounds?
Oh,
I'll bring that up on unfinished and ongoing.
Yeah, I meant to
Thank you.
mention that, okay, we're good? Public relations?
I met with Alex and we had a nice conversation about what some of the things he needs are, and I'm hoping to be able to help him out with that. One of the things he needs is to know more about PR outlets in the area. So I'm looking
What
into
kind of outlets?
PR outlets in the area, so I'm looking into that. I'm also looking at trying to find different policies for public relations for libraries.
Oh, that's good.
And I'd like to come up with some talking points at some point for the board, just about, the library. And what's doing.
Yeah.
I have to say I was really impressed with my meeting with Alex because he's like juggling 3 balls all at once. And he's doing a spectacular job of PR in the photo news right now. And
He does a spectacular job at everything.
he is, it's great. And
Turn the camera on.
Come on, turn around.
Just stick your head right across there.
he told me his 3 hats are IT, PR, and graphics, and he's really been digging into all 3 of those areas very impressively, and I hope to be working more with him.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say for now.
that's great. And, long-range planning,
Yeah, nothing going on there,
Okay.
since the plan's in place.
I just wanna mention that the staff had brought up to Marilyn, they wonder whether it would be possible for them to be on some of the, boards committees, and it would seem to me like that would be a good idea. Of course, that's up to the rest of the people on the board, but certainly I would think, staff members would have lots to say about buildings and grounds and,
I just have a question, what does your bylaws say with regards to the committees?
It doesn't say anything either way.
Okay, then you're welcome to do so.
all right.
It doesn't say, are you sure it doesn't say
It doesn't say
anything
anything
about
about-
trustees or?
The staff, no.
It just has to say what the committees are built on. Some bylaws
It tells what
states,
they're responsible for,
yes.
but it doesn't. give
Some
you-
bylaws states committees can be by staff as well as trustees. Some others just want trustees, so
Okay,
the bylaws will tell you that.
okay, and if they don't, we can always change
It
it.
just lists the committee and what it,
Yeah.
It does,
responsible
yeah, it does,
for.
it does list,
who can participate.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room there for synergy. That,
I know
Positive.
Carol was the one that got us the guy to mow the lawn, you know, she has been interested in that kind of
yeah,
thing.
so that's something for the future. Or, you know, if somebody expresses an interest, Marilyn, you can direct them to the
Yep.
committee chair
I
and
will.
take it from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, unfinished and ongoing business.
Oh, unfinished and ongoing? Wi-Fi. Marilyn. Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Alex? When we were in this conference room B for the last library operating committee or bylaws committee, I mean, we're getting no signal in there at all.
And there was
In
none
B.
in A either today.
And
There's a problem in A.
That's news to me, okay.
What I would recommend, I don't know why our Wi-Fi access points are buried in the ceiling, but they make clips that actually sit on the corner of these, that you can now clip them and they just sit flush up against that and you run the wire straight up through there. I'll be more than happy to come down on a weekend and help you with it. To move those and mount those, we just have to order the clips and they're not expensive. And that way we can get them down below the hanging ceiling because every one of these little aluminum things here blocks your signal.
Oh, all those, that grid?
Yep.
It's those white round things, right?
Yes, they're called access points.
Right.
Yeah, they're called access points
I would
so
like
that,
things too.
yeah, but for some reason,
look like flying
we're not getting any
saucers.
signal in there, so we're sitting in there and the sad part is I'm on Verizon, which you get signal everywhere except in conference room B. So I'm going, I can't pull anything down and I needed to pull down a copy of the bylaws, et cetera, because I didn't have a soft copy, or excuse me, a hard copy. I had nothing, so it's a little disconcerting. We need to look into that
Yeah,
and
definitely.
see what's going on with that. I
We
can
have a-
bring an Android phone with a spectrum analyzer and figure out where our signal is dropping.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, we have a weekly meeting in that room and I've never had connectivity
For
issues.
Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah.
I was sitting.
Actually.
Didn't we have some major problems the other day
Yeah.
or the last few days?
We had, Optimum was really throttling us on Friday for some
Yeah,
reason, but we
so
fixed
maybe
that.
it was something to do with that.
But today,
Well,
we
this
had
was
a
on
a
Thursday
person in
morning.
A
Right
that
in the
couldn't get
leading up to
Wi-Fi.
that.
They were doing a literacy. She wanted to actually just show me pictures of her grandson in Poland, and she couldn't bring it up.
Yeah,
Maybe it
if
was
It was
we,
very important.
we have signal coming through Optimum, is that who we get
Yeah,
our service
yep.
through? It might be worth you and I having a discussion about what we're paying for it and
Sure.
what we're getting to see if that's sufficient for our needs. Probably should be, but if they're throttling us, that's a bad thing.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
shouldn't ever throttle us, especially since we're servicing the public. Public comes here for Wi-Fi access, they don't want to be throttled.
Yeah.
So you know
With
what,
you.
I think this is a discussion.
No, and that's what I
between-
just said, I'll have a
Yeah, but just
conversation.
CC me if you're gonna send
No.
any.
Just
say.
I just need to
Sure.
know what's
That's
going
one of the
on.
satellites
Yeah.
right out there
So
in Children's, and
I know
Ian set
we'll
one
be
up,
trying to
but these
distribute
speak
it
to each
evenly.
other.
Yeah,
There,
maybe that's
there's
what
one
I
Yeah,
here.
it's all mesh network, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything in the ceiling in B.
There isn't.
I don't think so.
So
No,
maybe
not
if
in
we
B.
There
add it,
isn't one in
maybe if we
B.
could add one.
There's one up front, there
No,
was
he's
one
at,
over
yeah.
there.
Are they all below like this?
There's only 2 or 3.
Yeah, they
As
may
far
need
as I
more
know.
of them, yeah.
that-
I
As
don't
far
think
as
it's
I
that we need
remember.
more of them, it might be how they're configured.
Okay,
Oh.
we can
It
take a
might
look at
just be
that.
how they're configured, because if they're all sitting on a channel that's being widely used, and
Mhm.
it's not smart enough to go, ooh, let's change to channel 4,
Right.
because everybody's on channel 6 talking.
Okay,
It's like everybody in this room saying, trying to talk at the same time.
right.
So
Yeah.
you and I can have a conversation about
great.
We did that test with Ian's phone and where the signal was dropping in the
Mhm.
building, and that's how he decided where to place these satellite things.
Yeah,
But we walked back and forth, three of us did it with our phones.
yeah.
So you could
And,
test.
it could be though because of people building businesses around you. Like the place next door it's been 3 different
Mhm.
businesses in the last couple of years. Some of them have Wi-Fi, some of them don't. It can actually impact what's going on in your world
Okay.
where it didn't impact you before, but now it does. The funny
There's
thing
a
is,
show around
the old
that.
cordless phones were the 900 megahertz phones, and everybody had them. And what happened? You could listen to your neighbor.
Yeah, yeah.
Because everybody was on the same frequency.
Baby
Now, if you
bombers.
look at that same 900 megahertz frequency, there's nobody on it. Why? Because everybody went to 2.4 and 5.7, and it's all nuts. So, it's worth investigating to
Yeah,
see
absolutely.
if we can put it on a different channel, perhaps, and then maybe that's going to be on like 3, and the guy down there is on 5, and somebody else is on 7,
Okay.
and then there's no crosstalk and there's no bleed.
All right.
And those
All right.
concrete walls. are
Enough
for-
of the phones.
Let's move
Charlie,
on.
those concrete walls on
That doesn't
the old
need-
side of the building are horrible for the
Well,
signal.
there's rebar in them.
New and miscellaneous.
Are we at new and miscellaneous?
That's going to kill you. So.
New and miscellaneous. Anybody have anything new or miscellaneous?
Wi-Fi, no.
We did that.
Nothing?
No? Good and welfare. Well, I think we know what the good is.
Right.
That Casey and
Casey and the
Shannon
baby.
had a new baby, and from the picture that he sent, he's just adorable.
I saw him in person. I think he,
Lucky.
Yeah, and we understand that our board member helped deliver him, is that right? Oh, no?
Casey, Casey told us.
I know, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Liz, are you in the healthcare field?
Yeah.
Or were you
I'm
just
a
walking
nurse.
by? Just walking by. We're not screaming.
I'm not supposed to, he can tell you.
Yes,
Okay.
you did.
We'll
Be careful
we'll
about
honor
me.
his
Yeah.
Yeah. But
His-
we're
the
very,
baby's name is Grayson.
Yes.
Greyson.
Cool.
and
They're gonna call him Gray.
we're very happy for them and to know that the baby is beautiful and safe and,
He did have a broken clavicle.
Oh.
Birth canal, so his 2 weeks off with the baby was kind of spent running to doctors.
as long
but
as he's
he's
okay.
He's
That's the
okay.
important thing. So,
Nice.
anybody else have anything, open floor discussion? Yes,
I'll let her. She can go first.
Oh, I just want to follow up on something that was said earlier, which is that as far as I am aware, there are no minutes reflecting any approval of the historical reports for November and December of 2016 or January and February of 2017.
okay,
We'll have to talk to Casey about that because he felt there were, so we'll have to either talk to him or check the tape or something, and if not, then they'll have to be done.
okay. Josh?
Okay. I borrowed the library pass this week to go to the Mid-Hudson Children's Museum with my
Uh-huh.
kids. It was the first time going there, but it got me thinking that 55 minutes away is the closest children's museum. And then further beyond that, you have Manhattan, Brooklyn, Long Island, that, there's nothing in the area. So I just wanted to bring it up to the library because the children are,
There's the Museum of the Hudson Highlands. Are you aware of that museum?
no?
It's more of a nature
Wonderful.
museum, it's not as
Right.
Tony, it's not a
Oh, yeah,
science
I've been
museum.
Not a hands-on kind of thing.
No,
Well,
it's
they
got
do
a nice
that.
little
Yeah.
path you
Yeah.
can walk with your
Trails.
kids. Look that up.
Okay,
It's in
but
Cornwall.
my point is I
Yes.
didn't know whether the library would want to look into venturing out to.
There's somebody trying to
Is
do
there?
something in Middletown that we could maybe reach out to. I never went, my husband went with my son. But maybe I'll ask him about it and we can explore it further.
Okay, well, I just was thinking that our area is the perfect area for
Yeah.
a children's museum.
Yeah, at some
You
point
know.
there was an interactive children's museum in Middletown in the complex where the Middletown DMV is, but I don't know if it's still currently.
I don't think so.
No.
My grandson was very much into children's museums, so I've been up on everyone up the East Coast. And I've been to the one in Poughkeepsie multiple times. It's got the little fire engine thing and a little person ride, it's an upstairs and down. He's outgrown it now, but
Yeah.
we've spent many a happy hour there.
There's one in Paramus too.
Paramus,
No.
yeah.
There's a very nice, that's not there anymore?
That one closed 3 years ago.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that was a great one.
Yeah,
Children's Museum.
Because I took we took my son
Yeah.
there right when they were closing, just
Oh, that was
because
great.
my wife went there when she was
don't think it'll be
young. She went many times to that one.
Josh, I'm not sure what you're thinking about in terms of the library of
I'm
us.
just throwing out an idea.
But what's
Of-
your concept? Are you thinking that we should branch out in some way as a children's museum or?
I'm just throwing out an idea. It's what I'm doing. I know the board has a lot on their plate right now, and you know, it's possible if the market's there, and when you get to future expansions, you know, that this area would be a good area because it would be centrally located to existing ones.
Do we know what summer programs are coming this year yet? Has Melissa worked on that? Because a lot, you know, I'm sure she has.
She starts like in January.
Yeah, I forget, this is June, yeah. But, you know, make sure you take advantage of those because
Oh, I
when she
do.
has
Oh,
the
he's here all
Birdman
the
come,
time.
yeah. And Jester Jim and,
He knows, yeah.
I'm here 3 days a week.
Yeah. One year when the pizza man was here, remember that? He wrote the book about pizza or something and I don't remember.
No, I
his
don't remember
name.
the pizza man, but I know we've always got something going in the
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that calendar is chock full
I
this
know,
summer.
it is
Unbelievable.
chock-full.
She
What is
did
the theme this
a
year,
great
do you know?
job.
Oh,
Build a better world.
okay, there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Well,
And
and,
build a bear.
Oh,
wait a minute,
oh.
wait a minute. I don't know where it went. Joy, we have this, it's called Make Do.
Is he sitting over there?
Okay. Is
On
he
the way
sitting
out,
there?
take a look.
Wait, on your way out, you gotta see our man. We wanna have a contest to name him. You will be astounded at, we took boxes, and then with our 3D printer, they made all the little screws and everything. And he's a man that's bigger than any of you
He's
men
a
over here.
robot. He's a
And he's
robot.
sitting over in there. He's an amazing thing, and so we're gonna have like make do stuff.
him.
Can you use the 3D printer to make a new book garden?
Maybe, but it will take a long time.
Brick by brick.
I wanted to bring up a little thing that I saw. My son has a fiddle in Pearl River, and so I wind up going to that library.
What does he have down there?
Fiddle, he plays fiddle. But they have this thing, and it's a bunch of PVC pipes, and people just throw their coins in it, and it's big, and when it fills up, it's quite a bit of money, and they raise. I mean, they're not supporting the library with it, but they make a couple $100 on that becoming full. And people like throw the pennies and quarters and whatever.
dump your change.
Like a wishing well.
Yeah, kind of, but it's
So what's the motive though? I mean, you know, throw your
Money.
money in a pipe.
a wish.
I think it's like if you have change here, throw it in and
Hey Liz,
I
could you
have,
take
my
a
son
picture
wants
of
to
it and
throw
send
money.
it?
I'm gonna take a picture of it.
yes, because I think that's something we need a visual
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
I'll call
I'm
him
gonna-
and ask him to
Where is
take
it
a
in,
picture.
it's at the library,
At the
because I'm
Pearl
gonna be
River
down there
Library.
tomorrow.
Oh, Pearl
go-
River Library.
Yeah, just in the
Yeah.
Pearl River Library. It's right at the door.
Listen,
And then
kids,
the other
kids love
thing-
dropping coins and
That's
things.
right.
Yeah.
You know that thing that spins around
Yeah,
and it
it's
takes that
basically a
Yes.
big.
penny and
Yes, yes,
I
effort.
spent a lot of
It's at the
time there
Science Center
when I was
Mecca.
younger.
That's right.
Yes, right, that's a
And
great,
that.
that's a great one.
They have one that's a dinosaur that you drop
Yeah.
it in his mouth and it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
down like this and
Yeah.
drops into
Oh,
his
yeah.
belly. There's a couple of those, and actually you can buy
I
that
was gonna say.
from Miller's.
Yes, I wonder
In
if
Lancaster.
the friends would purchase something like that
If
and
they
gift
had
it
the
to the
money to be able
library.
to do that, yeah, they could.
They
And
might.
then
I'll
what
have
you
to
do is you
check
put a
with the
sign on it and
president.
say, you know, donate your spare change to help out the library.
I'll check with the president.
The other thing is, why don't we, I know that little spot was a great spot to go and buy books, but maybe, should we have a shelf or two out, like, Goshen Library is very small, they have a big shelf on the way out.
We do have a
It's
shelf.
kind of an honor
Yeah, we
system,
do have
and
a
you
shelf.
can give
We have
money?
both. We
Okay,
have both.
alright.
Where the handicap
Where is it?
spot, where the handicap, where the circulation desk goes low,
Yeah,
there's a bunch of books for sale there.
okay.
And then we have a
Alright.
carol
By the door.
thing that has paperbacks,
I
that if you
can see-
forgot your
okay.
library card, you
Alright.
could just take one, like the
Yeah.
honor books.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
just say 5, because then we count them up as certs.
Okay, alright,
So we do both of that.
alright, super.
Well, and that's the intent of knocking that building down, is to eventually get a building that gives us storage space, because that's what it's used for now, a book garden, which is what it was used for, to give us additional children's library space, because we're in need of it, and to give us a community room where we can have meetings like this and not have all of our public crammed in like a
Yeah,
shoebox. So that we could actually have public
Performance
meetings
space.
and or even other types of forums, presentations and concerts and stuff, so there's a reason to get rid of that building and actually move forward with that, so that's kind of where we're headed.
Okay.
And for those of you new on the board, because of the structure legally of the title to the properties, only this building is currently mortgaged, so that if there was a major project to be done with the next door building, it could be subject to a separate mortgage. So there would be funding and, you know, without having to try to get a huge bond from the public.
Right. She's right.
Okay,
Adjournment?
can we have a motion to adjourn?
I
Charlie,
motion that we adjourn this meeting.
do we have a second?
I was thinking.
Diane seconds? All in favor? Unanimous. All right, thank you all for a good meeting.